Hi, parents. Well, I don't know if this is working out for you. I can't tell yet, but I'm going to continue with giving some tips for how to do the next paragraph in your child's, well, how your child will do the next paragraph in their story. So today we talked about the strategy of slowing down the action in order to focus on something really exciting. So for the next paragraph in their story, they're supposed to be writing about going down the Colorado River in a raft. And they watched a little video about that, which I will put on the Google Classroom in case they want to watch it again. But they were instructed to choose a moment from that trip that they thought was most exciting. And then instead of just trying to tell all the things that could happen on a rafting trip, they're going to spend 4 or even 5 sentences talking about and expanding on that one event. So they were given a sentence starter for their paragraph, and I'll show you how they introduce the paragraph in a moment. But one exciting moment on our rafting trip came when now in this example I chose went through rapids, but they're allowed to choose anything they want. So some of them are talking about when they saw some wildlife down by the river. Some of them are talking about being bounced out of their raft. So they don't have to do the rapids. Of course, that might be something they want to focus on since that's where our example was. And then you go through and I told them focus on things that they could hear and feel and see, but build the action up to a high point or a climax and then bring the action back down. So I could hear the roar of the river begin to get louder. It sounded like angry bees. The current picked up speed and the raft began to bounce around like a rubber ducky. We could also talk about the cold water splashing inside the raft. Suddenly, a big rock rose up in front of us like an ancient river monster ready to devour our raft. I'm using a lot of similes, and I did point that out today as something that they want to try to incorporate. In ELD, we spent more time on similes, and I can post that lesson as well. If you'd like to see it, let me know. We all dug our oars into the water and paddled like hungry dogs digging for bones. Finally, and it's important to bring the action back down, finally, we made it around the giant boulders. I won't forget the excitement of that moment. Or they could say something like, the rest of the trip was peaceful, or something to sort of end the excitement and be ready to move on to the next topic in the next paragraph. So when they are typing, remember that they have opened up their document from the Grand Canyon Adventure Story, and they've gone back into it. So now that they have their opening and they have their body paragraph 1, where they're talking about the animals that they've seen on the trail, this is body paragraph 2, which is supposed to be an up close focus on one event from the river rafting part of their day. And you can see this, or you can pause this video if you want to see that up close, but it's just basically those sentences that we just discussed in paragraph form. I do want to point out that the introduction to this paragraph is important. We want to link back to what happened in the previous paragraph by saying something like after hiking for hours. So this is a little prepositional phrase that ties in the 2 paragraphs. We made it to the bottom of the canyon and we began our rafting adventure down the Colorado River. So it is important that each paragraph introduces the activity that's going to be the focus of that paragraph. And that is something that we talked about in class as well. So thank you. As I said, I will share that video on the Google Classroom stream so they can watch it again in case it was a little laggy today. And thank you once again for your help and for possibly using the rubric to go over the paragraph with them and see how they are scoring so far. Thank you so much.